Book summaries and recommendations by Fkofsky on Channel Fables and Fun by Fkofsky.
Hi, guys. Today, we're diving into the Sufi Book of Life, an incredible guide to Sufi spirituality. Instead of a traditional book, it's presented as 99 pathways of the heart, each representing a unique divine quality. What's really cool is that you don't have to follow it in order. You can explore whichever pathway speaks to you in the moment. Through Sufi stories, practices, and reflections, this book invites us to connect with the divine on a deeply personal level, focusing more on experience and feeling rather than just intellectual understanding. So, if you're looking to deepen your spiritual journey and discover new insights, this book is the perfect companion. Let's explore what these pathways are all about.
You want to learn about Sufism, and you've brought some really interesting sources. I'm excited to dive in. Did you know Sufism is all about pathways of the heart? Let's find out more with our expert who's here to help us unpack this.
I'm excited to be here. Sufism, well, it's often called the mystical dimension of Islam. But you don't have to be Muslim to find meaning in its teachings. It's a path that emphasizes a connection with the divine, a very personal and intimate connection, a direct experience of the divine within yourself.
Okay, so from the start, we're talking about the heart, not just the mind. And the name Sufi itself, where does that come from?
There are a few theories, but the most common one connects Sufi to the Arabic word for wool, suf. Early mystics wore simple woolen garments. It was symbolic. Humility, their focus on the inner world.
So stripping away the outer layers, getting to the core, to the true essence. I like that. One of the sources you brought, the Sufi Book of Life, talks about these 99 pathways of the heart. What are these pathways? How do they relate to the Sufi journey?
Think of them as 99 different qualities, attributes of the divine. Each one a facet we can cultivate within ourselves to deepen our connection. They have such interesting names like the Sun of Love, Awaken Hearing, Diminishment, even pain and loss. They represent the full spectrum of human experience.
Wow, those names are really something. They're not just abstract concepts, are they? They feel personal, relatable. But how do these pathways actually guide someone? Is it like a step-by-step process?
Not really, not sequential. They're more like lenses, different lenses. We can use them to understand ourselves and our relationship with the divine. Some pathways might speak to you more strongly than others at different points in your life, depending on where you are, your experiences, your journey.
So it's more about finding the pathways that speak to you at a given moment. That makes sense. For example, how might understanding the pathway of, say, diminishment lead to personal growth?
Diminishment. It's a pathway that challenges us to recognize our limitations, to surrender to a power greater than ourselves, humbling the ego, letting go of pride, realizing that we are part of something much, much larger. It can be a powerful step towards spiritual maturity.
That makes sense. It's not about making yourself small, but about understanding your place within the grand scheme of things. Now, the Sufi teachings are filled with stories and examples. Are those just for entertainment, or do they serve a deeper purpose?
Stories are at the very heart of Sufism. They take complex spiritual concepts and make them more accessible, more relatable. They offer glimpses into the lived experience of these principles, allowing us to understand how they play out in real life.
Give me an example. What's a story that really illuminates a key aspect of Sufism?
There's this wonderful story about Moses. He asked God for a unique prayer so he could remember the divine constantly, and God tells him to simply repeat, La ilaha illallah. There is no reality but the one reality.
It's about simplifying, going deeper into what we already know.
Exactly. Sufism often emphasizes this, stripping away complexity to reach a state of pure awareness and connection. It's about realizing the truth that's already within us.
That reminds me of Rumi's poetry. He uses such vivid imagery to convey profound truths.
Absolutely. He had this poem. It compares life to being kneaded, molded, like clay in a potter's hands. It illustrates the Sufi perspective on transformation and surrender to the divine will. It's a powerful metaphor, letting go of control, trusting the process.
So stories and poetry, they're like doorways into the Sufi experience. But what about practical steps? Are there specific practices that Sufis engage in to cultivate this connection with the divine?
There are many practices. They all aim to cultivate presence, awareness, and a deeper connection. One central practice, it's called deepen, involves repetition of sacred phrases or names of God. It's like a mantra, a way to quiet the mind and focus the heart on the divine
It sounds a lot like meditation.
Yes, it's about shifting your awareness inward, connecting with the divine presence within. Breath work is also important. Specific breathing techniques. Sufis use them to center themselves, to attain a state of deeper connection.
So these practices, it's about going inward, finding that stillness amidst the busyness of life. Speaking of guidance, the sources mention the importance of a guide or teacher, a murshid. On the Sufi path, why is that so crucial?
A murshid is a spiritual mentor, someone who has already walked the path. They can offer wisdom, support, and guidance, personalized guidance. Think of them as a compass, helping you navigate the complexities of the spiritual journey.
It's like having a Sherpa guiding you up Mount Everest. It makes sense. Having someone who's been there before can make all the difference. Now, we've been talking about these general principles, but the sources also mention some notable Sufi figures, like Abdul Qadir Jilani and the famous poet Rumi. What made them stand out?
They were incredibly influential. They shaped the course of Sufism with their teachings and practices. Abdul Qadir Jilani, he emphasized concentration and cultivating a right relationship with the divine.
So aligning your inner world with your outer actions.
Precisely. He believed that inner transformation is key to manifesting positive change in the world around us.
And then there's Rumi. His poetry has become almost synonymous with Sufism in the West. What makes his work so powerful?
Rumi's poetry, it explores themes of love, longing, and union with the divine with such raw passion and honesty. His verses resonate across cultures, time periods, because they speak to the universal, the human yearning for connection, for something greater than ourselves.
His relationship with Shamsi Tabriz, it seemed to be a catalyst for his spiritual awakening. What was so special about their connection?
Their friendship. It was truly transformative. Shams, he was a wandering dervish. He sparked something, a profound awakening. In Rumi's soul, their connection highlights something, the power of love and companionship on the Sufi path, sharing the journey with others. It can enhance our understanding and our growth.
So we've covered a lot of ground: the meaning of Sufi, the pathways of the heart, the role of stories and practices, and even touched upon some key figures. But how is Sufism practiced in the modern world? Has it evolved, or does it remain unchanged?
Sufism is a living tradition. It continues to evolve and adapt. While staying true to its core principles, you'll find Sufi communities all over the world, each with its own unique practices and lineage.
Can you give us an example of a modern Sufi community?
The Nur Ashki Jarahi Sufi Order, based in New York City, it's a great example. They welcome seekers from all backgrounds and offer space for exploration, practice, and connection.
It's encouraging to see that Sufism continues to thrive in the modern world, offering a path for those seeking a more meaningful way of life, a more connected way of life. As we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are some key takeaways for our listener who is new to Sufism?
Sufism is a path of the heart, a journey of self-discovery and connection with the divine. It's about seeking a direct experience of the divine within yourself through practices, reflection, and the guidance of a teacher. It's a journey that unfolds through stories, poetry, and a deep appreciation for the beauty of the world around us.
It's been an incredibly enlightening journey so far. We've only just scratched the surface of this rich and fascinating world. We'll be back in a moment to continue our exploration of the beauty and wisdom of Sufism.
It's a journey, unfolds in layers. It reveals deeper truths as you progress.
Before we move on, I want to revisit these 99 pathways of the heart. I'm curious how they actually work as guides on the Sufi journey.
Remember, each pathway, each one embodies a quality, an attribute of the divine. It's not about achieving some far-off goal, but recognizing and cultivating these qualities within yourself. They're like different facets of a jewel, each reflecting light in its own unique way.
So a journey of inner transformation, reflecting the divine within.
Exactly. And each pathway provides unique perspective on that transformation.
Could you give me an example? Like, how would a pathway like, say, the Sun of Love actually guide someone?
The Sun of Love, it invites us to connect with that radiant love, that all-encompassing love. That's at the core of Sufism, opening yourself to love's power, love's transformative power, not just in romantic relationships, but in every aspect of life.
So it's a broader kind of love, a love that transcends boundaries.
Exactly. It's about recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings and experiencing love. That embraces the whole universe.
That's beautiful. But what about a pathway like diminishment? It seems kind of counterintuitive to seek diminishment on a spiritual path.
Ah, yes, it is a paradox, isn't it? Diminishment. It's not about belittling yourself, but humbling the ego, recognizing your own limitations, and surrendering to a power greater than yourself.
So it's about humility and recognizing that we are part of something bigger, much bigger.
Precisely. It's about letting go of the need to control and allowing yourself to be guided by a wisdom beyond your own understanding.
I'm starting to see how these pathways can be powerful tools for self-discovery. They challenge us to think differently about ourselves and the world around us.
They do indeed. They push us beyond our comfort zones and invite us to grow in ways we might never have imagined.
Now, music and poetry play a significant role in Sufism, especially the works of Rumi. Why are these art forms so important on the Sufi path?
Music and poetry, they transcend language, they can bypass the intellectual mind and speak directly to the soul. They evoke deep emotions, insights.
It's like they create a bridge between the heart and the mind, allowing us to experience truth in a more holistic way.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Rumi's poetry, for example, he uses metaphors and imagery to evoke a sense of longing, love, and union with the divine. It can stir the soul and open us up to a deeper experience of reality.
One of his most famous lines is, "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there." What a powerful invitation to move beyond duality and embrace a more expansive view.
Absolutely. It points to that Sufi belief, a reality, beyond our limited perceptions, a realm where opposites merge and we experience the unity of all things.
So through these pathways of the heart, music, poetry, and stories, Sufism provides a tapestry, a rich tapestry, for spiritual exploration. It's not about rigid dogma, but a fluid and adaptable path that speaks to the individual.
That's one of the things that makes Sufism so appealing. It honors the richness, the complexity of human experience, while offering a way to find meaning, connection in a world that can often feel fragmented.
And you can't talk about Sufism without mentioning the whirling dervishes. It's such a captivating practice, so enigmatic.
The whirling dervishes, they belong to the Mevlevi order, founded by Rumi's followers. Their whirling dance, the sema, it's a form of moving meditation, symbolizes the soul's journey towards spiritual awakening.
I've seen videos. It's mesmerizing. They spin. It seems like hours.
Yeah.
And they don't even get dizzy.
It is quite a sight. The dervish's right hand raised towards heaven, receiving divine grace, and the left hand points down towards the earth, symbolizing the transmission of that grace into the world.
So they become a conduit between heaven and earth.
Yes. As they whirl, they shed their ego, their attachments. They become completely absorbed in the present moment.
It must be a profound experience for both the dervish and anyone witnessing it.
It is. It reminds us that the spiritual journey, it isn't just about intellectual understanding. It's about embodying truth through movement, rhythm, and surrender.
We could talk for hours about all the beautiful and profound aspects of Sufism, but our time is limited. Before we move on, I want to make sure that our listener has a clear understanding. What distinguishes Sufism from other spiritual traditions? What are some of the key takeaways?
That's a great question. One of the most distinctive aspects of Sufism, it's the emphasis on the heart as the seat of spiritual understanding. It's not just about following rules or doctrines. It's about cultivating a connection, a deep personal connection with the divine through love, compassion, and self-knowledge.
So a path of the heart, not just the head.
Exactly. Sufism also recognizes the importance of a guide, a teacher, a murshid, who can provide guidance, personalized guidance, and help you navigate the complexities of the spiritual journey.
It's like having a spiritual mentor walking beside you on the path.
Yes, and finally, Sufism. It embraces a rich tradition of stories, poetry, and music. They convey spiritual truths in ways that transcend intellectual understanding. These art forms, they evoke a sense of wonder and invite us to experience the divine directly.
It's a path that engages the whole being, heart, mind, and soul.
Beautifully put. It's a path of beauty, love, and a profound transformation.
This has been such an enlightening exploration. We've learned about the core principles of Sufism, explored those mystical pathways of the heart, and even touched upon the whirling dervishes, their captivating practice. But there's one more element we need to address before we wrap up this deep dive: the concept of the nafs, or the inner self, and its journey towards purification and awakening.
That's an essential aspect of Sufism. The nafs is like a mirror, a multifaceted mirror. It reflects our desires, our attachments, and our ego, It's the part of us that can lead us astray from our spiritual path if we're not careful.
So it's like an internal battleground where our spiritual growth takes place.
Exactly. The Sufi path involves purifying, refining the nafs,
Yeah.
stripping away the layers of ego and illusion, the layers that prevent us from experiencing our true nature, that pure essence we were talking about earlier.
It sounds like a journey of self-discovery, peeling away the layers to reveal the truth within.
Absolutely. And it's not always easy. The nafs can be stubborn, resistant to change. But through practice, spiritual practice, self-reflection, and the guidance of a teacher, we can gradually purify it and allow our true essence to shine through.
It sounds like a lifelong process.
It is, but it's a journey worth taking because it leads to inner peace, freedom, and a deep connection with the divine.
I'm really intrigued by this idea, the nafs journey. Are there specific stages or milestones along the way?
Sufi masters describe various stages of the nafs journey, each with its own challenges and rewards.
Can you give us a glimpse into those stages?
One common framework. It describes 7 stages, beginning with the nafs al-amara, the commanding soul. It's dominated by our lower desires, our impulses. Think of it as the voice of temptation, always seeking gratification, instant gratification, without considering the consequences.
So the part of us that wants what it wants, when it wants it.
Exactly. From there, we move to the nafs al-lawama, the blaming soul, or the soul that reproaches itself. At this stage, we start to experience remorse for our actions, and we develop a desire for change. It's like our conscience. It starts to wake up.
So there's a growing awareness of our flaws and a yearning for something more.
Precisely. And that yearning, it propels us toward the next stage, the nafs al-mulhama, the inspired soul. Here we begin to receive guidance, inspiration from the divine.
Sounds like a glimmer of light. It starts to pierce through the darkness.
Yes, we experience moments of clarity, peace, and a sense of connection with something greater than ourselves. Our efforts are starting to bear fruit.
That's encouraging. But I imagine there's still challenges at this stage.
Of course. We haven't completely transcended our lower impulses yet. We can still fall back into old patterns, but now we have a taste of that spiritual connection, and that keeps us moving forward.
What about the nafs al-mutma'inna? That sounds like a much more peaceful stage.
It is. The nafs al-mutma'inna is the soul at peace. At this stage, we've achieved a certain level of inner harmony and stability. We're less reactive to external circumstances and have a deeper sense of trust in the divine.
So we find that inner stillness amidst the chaos of life.
Exactly. We cultivate a state of equanimity. It allows us to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and resilience.
It's a beautiful state to aspire to.
It is. But the journey doesn't end there. There are 3 more stages, each representing a deeper level of spiritual realization. The nafs al-radiyya, the pleasing soul. The nafs al-mardiyya, the pleased soul. And finally, the nafs al-kamila, the perfect soul.
Wow, it's an ongoing process. Refinement, purification, a journey with no end.
You could say that each stage brings us closer to our true nature and closer to union with
Wow.
the divine.
It's like polishing a diamond, revealing its brilliance, facet by facet.
What a perfect analogy. The journey of the nafs is all about uncovering our perfection, that inherent perfection, that divine spark that resides within each of us.
This whole concept of the nafs and its purification, it's so profound. It adds such depth to our understanding of Sufism. Shows that it's not just about mystical experiences or intellectual knowledge, but about a transformative journey, an inner journey.
Exactly. Sufism offers a roadmap, a practical roadmap for navigating the complexities of our inner world
Oh.
and achieving a state of spiritual wholeness.
And we know that Sufism emphasizes the importance of community and guidance from a teacher. How do these elements support the purification of the nafs?
Community, it provides a space for shared practice, support, encouragement. It's like a caravan traveling together on the spiritual path.
So we're not meant to do this alone.
Not at all. We need each other, our support, our wisdom to navigate the challenges. And a teacher, a murshid, is like a guide who has already traversed the terrain. They can help us avoid pitfalls and navigate the challenges along the way.
Like having that experienced Sherpa we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
someone who knows the path and can help us stay on track.
Exactly. The murshid can offer guidance, personalized guidance, practices, insights that accelerate our growth, our spiritual growth, and help us to refine the nafs.
This deep dive into Sufism has been incredibly transformative. We've learned about its core principles, those mystical pathways, and the fascinating journey of the nafs. As we start to wrap up, I want to leave our listener with some practical takeaways. What are some ways they can incorporate Sufi principles into their daily lives?
Here are a few simple but powerful practices. Cultivate awareness of the present moment. Practice gratitude and engage in acts of kindness and service to others.
It all begins with awareness, doesn't it?
It does. When you become more present, you can shift your focus from external distractions to your inner world.
And then you can start to appreciate the blessings in your life.
Through gratitude.
Yes, gratitude is a powerful antidote to negativity. It helps you to connect with the abundance all around you.
And finally, there's the practice of kindness and service to others. Absolutely. Serving others, it's a cornerstone of Sufism. It helps us to transcend our ego and connect with the unity of all beings.
It reminds me of a quote, "Love grows by giving. The love we give away is the only love we keep. The only way to retain love is to give it away."
Beautifully said. Love is the essence of the Sufi path. It's the force that draws us closer to the divine and closer to one another.
This deep dive has been so enriching. I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on spirituality and the meaning of life.
I'm so glad to hear that. Sufism is a path of beauty, depth, and profound transformation. I encourage you to keep exploring and see how its teachings can illuminate your own unique journey.
I definitely will. And for you, our listener, I hope this deep dive has sparked a curiosity to learn more about Sufism. It offers a profound and meaningful way to connect with the divine, both within yourself and in the world around you. It's a path of love, compassion, and awakening, open to anyone with a sincere heart. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Sufism. We'll see you next time for another fascinating deep dive into the world of ideas. We've been talking about these Sufi principles and practices. One thing that keeps coming up, this emphasis on self-knowledge and transformation. It's not about blindly following a set of rules. It's about an exploration, a deep exploration of your own inner world.
That's at the core of Sufism, really. It's about recognizing that divine spark within you and embarking on a journey to discover your true nature. The Sufi masters, they have a saying, whoever knows oneself knows their sustainer.
It's like a pilgrimage, an inner pilgrimage, a quest to uncover the hidden depths of your own being.
Yes, exactly. And that journey, it involves confronting your shadows, your ego, all the things that might be blocking you from experiencing that divine presence within.
So it's not all blissful and ecstatic. There's some real work involved.
Absolutely. It involves facing your fears, your attachments, your limiting beliefs, all the things that we accumulate as we move through life. But the rewards, they're immense. As you purify your inner world, you experience greater peace, freedom, a deeper connection to the divine.
It reminds me of that saying, the diamond cannot be polished without friction, nor man perfected without trials.
That's a beautiful way to put it. The challenges we face on the Sufi path, they're opportunities for growth and transformation. They're not meant to break you, they're meant to refine you.
One of the sources you provided mentioned the concept of fana, or passing away. Sounds intimidating, but I'm curious to know what it really means in the context of Sufism.
Fana, it's a profound concept. It points to the annihilation of the ego, the dissolution of the separate self. It's about surrendering to the divine will, completely letting go, and experiencing a state of union with the beloved.
So it's not about physical death,
Yeah.
but a spiritual transformation,
Yeah.
a letting go of the ego.
Precisely. It's about transcending that limited sense of self and merging with the infinite ocean of divine consciousness.
It sounds like a mystical experience, something that's
Yes.
hard to grasp
Yeah.
with the rational mind.
It is, and you can't force it or control it. It's a gift, a grace. It comes through surrender and purification of the heart.
I can only imagine. It must be liberating
Yeah.
and terrifying to experience that kind of ego death.
You're right. It can be both. It involves letting go of everything you hold dear, your attachments, your identities, even your sense of individuality. But in that surrender, that's where you find true freedom and liberation.
Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, completely transformed and renewed.
Beautiful metaphor. Fana is a death and a rebirth, a transformation that leads you to a higher level of being.
You've mentioned several times that the Sufi path, it's a journey of the heart. What are some practical ways we can cultivate this heart connection in our daily lives?
Deek, the remembrance of God through repetition, of sacred phrases or names. It's one powerful practice. It helps to quiet the mind and open the heart to the divine presence.
Well, similar to a mantra.
Yes, exactly. Another practice, cultivate gratitude. When you appreciate the blessings in your life, your heart, it naturally opens to a sense of wonder and connection.
It's about shifting your focus from what you lack to what you already have.
Precisely. And don't underestimate the power of kindness, acts of kindness, and service to others. This is essential in Sufism. When you give of yourself, you move beyond your ego and experience the interconnectedness of all beings.
It reminds me of, quote, "Love grows by giving. The love we give away is the only love we keep. The only way to retain love is to give it away."
Beautifully said. Love is the essence of the Sufi path. It's the force that draws us closer to the divine and closer to one another.
This deep dive has been, well, so enriching. I feel like I've gained a new perspective on spirituality and the meaning of life.
I'm so glad. Sufism, it's a path of beauty, depth, and profound transformation. I encourage you to keep exploring and see how its teachings can illuminate your journey, your own unique journey.
I definitely will. And for our listener, I hope this deep dive has sparked a curiosity to learn more about this fascinating tradition, Sufism. It offers a profound way to connect with the divine, both within and in the world around you. It's a path of love, compassion, and awakening. It's open to anyone with a sincere heart. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Sufism. We'll see you next time for another deep dive
Into the world of ideas.